Hi, this is VerDarLuz from Divine Timing Coaching, and I'm excited to share with you about the Oscar winners here from an astrological perspective, looking at some of the cycles that they're going through, and a lot of surprises here. So this is quite an interesting take on the Oscars and why we may be winning an award at this time in our lives with Brendan Fraser here, a big surprise, comeback story happening, and then we see Michelle Yeoh here as well. And so we're going to look at some charts. We're going to talk about Jamie Lee Curtis as well. So we got 3 stars here for you. Again, like and subscribe the video. I'd love for you to keep tuning in to more astrological videos about the cycles going on and other core elements of astrology. So let's look at the charts. Let's get into starting with Michelle. And here's the great actress. She's been around for a while. You may remember her from Crouching Tiger as well. But she won for Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. And we don't have an exact birth time for Michelle, unfortunately. So we can't get the rising sign. We can't get the exact houses where the planets are. But what you see here is her birth chart, again, without the exact time. The planets are in the right sign, but we don't know the houses. We do know that this chart right here is what we call the secondary progress chart, which is quite important for what's just happened. And then this is the transits, the cycles going on right now. And so this is typical for astrologers to look at, these kind of major predictive tools, the progressed and transit charts. And right away, I want to show you that when you look at this chart, you have that Michelle is a moon in Libra. And again, we don't know the birth time, but even on that day, we can look right here and we can see that Jupiter and Chiron, which are exact conjunct on the day of the Oscars, very, very powerful. Jupiter gives abundance, fortune, opportunity, the big break, the luck. And Chiron is, known as the mentor or the coach or the guide or the healer. And I think can definitely bring someone into the limelight in a way, especially amplified by Jupiter. Especially if we're playing in a role that maybe also as an Asian actress, you're kind of playing a Chiron role. You're a world bridger. You're bringing the community of Asian actors and actresses into the limelight, which has been very strong this year. So you're playing kind of this Chiron world bridger role. And then you have like some of the roles played, like in Brendan's case, this wounded kind of being in the whale, very much a Chiron figure, which we'll talk about too. So you have Jupiter and Chiron collectively in the sky. You see this showing up during the Oscars and maybe why some of the winners won that did. But for Michelle specifically, Jupiter and Chiron are opposite her moon. And even though it's an opposition, which can sometimes be challenging, the fact that it's Jupiter can always bring that sense of good luck or good fortune. And we'll see Jupiter again and again and again through these charts. You can also see this big transit, and this is what seals the deal for Michelle. Jupiter and Chiron both are in a trine, so a flowing, supportive, helpful angle from the most supportive and benefic planet Jupiter coming to her sun, her life force, her vitality, her sense of, creativity. And of course, the sun is the superstar part of our chart. And you have the best aspect from the best planet, the most benevolent planet, which is Jupiter, giving a kind of grace. You could also see that Jupiter is right here trining her Mercury, coming to trine her Mercury, trining her Sun, trining her North Node, the symbol of destiny. So much visibility here. And it's like, it was just the time. But you could also see that if you look here, that, she has just completed her second Saturn return. Now, that's not exact anymore, but it was during the filming of this. And so kind of, brought her into this role that now she will have legacy around. And Saturn always relates to things like, legacy and endurance. And sort of how we chisel ourselves into the collective consciousness. And so we also might see, Saturn transits coming in for winning an award, right? Because it's something that will collectively endure, and it lays foundations for the career of that actor or actress for the rest of their career potentially. So we like to see a Saturn transit, during an award win like this. And so Saturn also 9 degrees away from her Chiron, but we would think that the roles coming in the future are going to be very significant for her, and again keep her very strong in the limelight. So this is what's jumping off. We don't know the angles for Michelle, but we can see a very significant transit here. And she did have her Mars return. That happens every 2 years. So gives a lot of energy. I mean, she's been in the public a lot this last year with this movie. And so there's been a lot of like momentum, and, Mars has been on her Mars 3 times in the last 7 months. So it's put a lot of activation, a lot of fire, a lot of passion and drive and motivation in her life and around her energy. So that's definitely not hurting the movement towards an Oscar win. Let's move into Brendan's chart. And again, Brendan's been not really in film for a long time. Some people have said he was blacklisted. There's, some news that came out a while ago when he talked about some potential abuse from those in the film industry, and he hasn't been seen very much. And Darron Aronofsky, the filmmaker, one of my favorite filmmakers, filmmaker of The Fountain and Noah and Black Swan. Well, he made the film The Whale this year, and Brendan starred. And Darron's known to bring people out of out of their retirement or out of being hidden and bring them back into the limelight. And here we have it with Brendan winning the Oscar. Maybe a little bit of a surprise, but it shows up in the charts. And this is again fascinating because just like with Michelle, Brendan has the sun in Leo here. Now, if you go back to Michelle's chart, she's a Leo here, right? Lots of Leo. Brendan is a Leo sun sign and Mercury as well. So there's the Jupiter and Chiron again, trine the best angle from the best planet, or the most supportive, we could say, the most benevolent, the most gift-giving and generous planet, Jupiter, in that flowing energy to the sun and to Mercury. Mercury rules communication and expression, the ideas we share with the world. And of course, as a Leo, double Leo, the ideas we're going to express are going to be acting, creating, being charming, charismatic, and, being a superstar in some way. So we have that beautiful trine aspect. That's definitely jumping off here as the major aspect. We do have an exact birth time for Brendan. So we can look at things like the fact that, the North Node is almost exactly on his rising sign. Whenever you see the North Node in effect, we saw it in Michelle's her North Node was receiving the trine from Jupiter. In this case, the North Node is moving in the sky. And what that is it's kind of our collective destiny. It's a sense of how we are all evolving. It's the hunger in our collective souls. That's the North Node. It relates to the eclipses in the sky every year. There's always 2 eclipses 2 weeks apart from each other. And so when you have a North Node touching a significant part of your chart, in this case, the ascendant, definitely one of the big 3, the sun, the moon, the ascendant, could be the angle of career that could be very significant as well. But in this case, we're looking at the North Node, the symbol of growth, increase, evolution, destiny, right? Touching the ascendant, the outer mask, and the personality in Brendan's chart. I mean, that is a profound statement for somebody winning the Oscar. Really, it was just destiny unfolding at this time. Absolutely. So now you could also look at another opposition, Jupiter opposite his Mars. This is definitely, again, putting a lot of energy behind Brendan at this time. Not bad or good, but just a transit we could see very exact during this. But then you could also look at the fact that building up to the Oscars, just weeks ago, Jupiter was on his north node in Aries. And again, this is an expansion and a growth, giving an opportunity to his destiny, his evolution and soul growth here. That's what the north node represents. So you got a transit from the north node and to the north node. Jupiter's involved, lots of benevolence going on here. And we can imagine that over the next few years, Pluto's going to get closer and closer to conjunct the progressed sun, the evolution of our identity, our creative essence, sometimes our professional life, especially in the 10th house of career for him. So we think, right, we could imagine that over the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years, maybe longer, that this will be quite a boon to Brendan's to Brendan's career. Let me just make sure that we are seeing I want to make sure you're seeing the chart there. So share the screen and we'll go back here. So here's Brendan's chart. And let's see if anything else is jumping off. It doesn't look like, well, there is something right here, and it's with Neptune. Neptune is right here, again, on his Chiron. Chiron being, again, the symbol of the wounded healer, the mentor, the coach, the guide. And again, the role that he played, there is this significant symbolism going on. So that can be there. But we could also see that Neptune is a few degrees away from his progressed Venus. Venus can represent how we can earn a living, some of our values, money. It's also our art, and how we express our sense of beauty. And so by progression, the evolution of this archetype of Venus is getting this transit from Neptune. And so that can bring, again, Neptune can always bring a kind of cinematic, almost romantic or magical quality to whatever it's touching. And this is definitely like the fairy dust kind of energy, Neptune on Venus, and then that special Chiron energy going on there too. Lastly, let's talk about Jamie Lee Curtis, and this is another really obvious transit here. So here's the most obvious from the very beginning. We do have an exact birth time for her at 8:37 a.m. And the first thing is to notice that Jupiter, again, Jupiter's in all these charts, is exactly on her moon and her IC, the angle of the home. She does have a lineage of having family that comes from acting. So the IC can relate to the family we come from. But we look at the moon and the transit of Jupiter to the moon, Chiron to the moon, a great healing maybe for her around a long career here, maybe also being ostracized, some of her roles maybe not being taken as seriously. But then you have Jupiter coming to give that bounty, that abundance. Jupiter's in her 5th house of creativity this year, self-expression. So it's a great time to be out in, being seen by the public, being more playful, being more fun. And yeah, so we love to see that. Maybe this is something karmic, kind of something coming to fruition. Venus is on her south node during this time. Jupiter's approaching that. The south node being a symbol of karma, of our soul's history. And maybe this is some kind of karmic fruition coming to bear at this time. We love also that Jupiter is trining her Uranus, and this gives once again, we've seen in every chart the trine from Jupiter is something that is helping to make this this star have that kind of potential to grow and be larger than life, be bold. And Jupiter just amplifies and grows everything it touches. And when it's trine Uranus, Uranus is a planet that represents our individuality and our uniqueness and our eccentricity and that unique blueprint that we bring to the world. And so Jupiter Uranus also innovation, experimentation. This role was extremely bizarre, in Everything Everywhere All at Once. Just her character was just, a very, written in a way that was, probably quite challenging to play, but a very unique archetype working with there. And so you have Jupiter trining Uranus, and that can be, again, a very experimental, I'm going to take a risk and do this role, and it's paying off. And then Jupiter also coming to trine her progressed moon. The progressed moon is the evolution of our emotional body. It's basically our feeling state at this time. And wow, she must be extremely excited, right? Jupiter always gives us a feeling of joy, of possibility. And I'm sure this will open up some new possibilities for her as well. That progressed moon is in Leo. It's again always a great time to be seen and visible as an actor or as an artist of any kind. So yeah, we're looking at also this Uranus, again, playing out Uranus stamp of individuality and uniqueness. And you could see Uranus in the sky at 15 Taurus while this is happening. And it's exactly squaring her Uranus. So it's again, bringing a kind of imprint of individuation, something unique that she brings to the world at this time in her life. Yeah, it helps her to stand out at this moment. Uranus always makes us rebellious, revolutionary. Some people were, thinking, this is a surprise. Uranus brings surprises that she won, especially over Angela Bassett from Wakanda Forever. A lot of people thought she was the forerunner. So, then you could see Uranus again bringing that kind of, individuality or stamp of uniqueness, because it's opposite her Jupiter. So now you get Jupiter to Uranus, Uranus to Jupiter, and Jupiter is her ruling planet. And so there's again that sudden, almost shocking, surprise. Here you are. Here's the win to the ruler of her chart, Jupiter. Yeah. And so there's a lot of things going on here for Jamie Lee Curtis. I'm going to stop there just to invite you to kind of, meditate on these transits for these stars during this Oscar season. I hope it's been interesting to learn about, how astrology can play into these big award ceremonies, and how, again, a lot of surprises here. And you always see this. You always see this with sports figures, with movie stars. And so I'll continue to share some of this as, new movies unfold and new news comes out about some of these stars. But you can see a lot of astrological evidence for why they may be supported in their wins at this time. So if you like the video, please like and subscribe and share. This is VerDarLuz from Divine Timing Coaching. I'm here to support you with readings, with coaching. Much love and light. Take care. Namaste.